welcome to Cherish TV. Have you ever asked yourself, why am I so sensitive? I know I have.
I have as well.
You have too?
All the time.
Well, that's our opening topic today. So, Becky, why don't you kind of open up the Pandora's box there and let's start chatting about this.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I have found in my own life when I have realized I'm being sensitive, it's because there's been a fresh wound or a hurt.
Wow.
And I think for me, I think sensitivity, the definition of sensitivity is being easily offended or hurt. And so why are we easily offended or hurt? And I think it's because we have an open wound that we haven't dealt with. And I really, for me, picture it like a physical wound. When you have a physical wound, it's sensitive. You don't want to touch it. You don't want to, but if you don't address it properly and deal with it properly,
people are going to touch
it. It's going to get infected.
Human.
Yes, it gets infected and then it affects how you respond, how you receive information. And so for me, I just know hypersensitivity comes from a fresh wound that hasn't been dealt with properly.
Would you say as well, it's actually a learnt behaviour? I think at some points they've been sensitive in a season because there's been open wound, but then it's just their learned behaviour and then they're just always sensitive. Because I know sensitive people, I'm like, you don't necessarily have an open wound right now. But it's like you've learned, that's your response now in life. Like, you're not in pain, why are you acting like you're in pain?
Well, you've trained yourself, I suppose, over many years to react a certain way. And we're seeing it, I mean, I think actually right now in the world, we are in the most sensitive, amongst the most sensitive
We get
generation.
butthurt at everything.
Butthurtness is real, y'all. Yes, it's celebrated. Everybody's offended.
I'm the most hurt. It's like,
and it's like, I think what Becky said was so true, because we have these wounds that haven't been healed, and it's not even an aggressive push.
No.
It's a light brush. It's, you know, lightly grazing past somebody with these areas of sensitivity sends off these alarms.
It does.
I think that we've elevated emotions to the highest degree. So if our highest, value is how we feel, we've already done ourselves an injustice. We aren't living by morality, we aren't living by principle, we're living by our feelings. And my feelings got hurt, so I'm just gonna push everybody off. Problem with that is you wind up with no friends.
Yes.
And so I think that we've got to learn how to be resilient, how to water off a duck's back. So we have to learn, I think, especially now in the world, how to eat the meat and spit out the bones. Can I receive, can I be teachable? Can people have conversations with me that I can actually grab onto some truth and let go of the way it's been delivered? I think all of us are like, talk to me the way I want to be spoken to. Well, guess what? Maybe we're not spoken to the way we prefer to be spoken to, but there's still truth in the statements, and we got to learn to receive that instead of going, whoa, 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 I have pain here, so you don't get to speak into me. Well, I think we'll live a very lonely life if we do that. And a very broken life. Because that way those dysfunctions and those areas of weakness can't be healed if we don't allow that counsel to come in, if everything hurts us.
It's like a culture of today, right? They call a lot of this generation, they call them the snowflake generation, in that they're so delicate, it all has to be different. Please deliver to me the messages I want to. It's like a cultural thing now where sensitivity is okay, and it's not even necessarily a flaw, it's like a strength for people, which is very strange.
Sensitivity can lead to offense, that can lead to bitterness. And so if we don't deal with the symptom of sensitivity, now we're leading to the isolation. So, Andy, you had quite the experience with a lot of people in creative world and worship team.
Those creatives, they're kind of stereotyped as, you can dispel the myth today, and this is your chance to advocate for the worship leaders of the world.
Why are creatives so sensitive?
We're not all that sensitive. Rock hard. I mean, creatives they've got to be sensitive to atmospheres, because they're there to create an atmosphere, and we all appreciate it when a great artist brings something like that moves us. So they are sensitive to moods, sounds, music. They'll see things in an atmosphere or an artistic piece that some of us won't always see, but then they know how to use those things to actually say something. So I'm always dealing with and leading creatives, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So when I need to speak some truth into a creative, I will acknowledge how they feel and speak to it and understand. And I think once you know you're heard, then you're able to say, okay, cool, like you get it. Now what have you got to say? And then so once you've acknowledged where someone's at and they understand that you get them,
Right.
then you can bring some truth that they can then maybe take some action on.
This helps me. I'm married to a creative, so this helps
So
me.
sensitivity, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative thing. I think sensitivity, when it leads to be easily offended or hurt or wounded, can be a negative. But being sensitive to the things of the spirit, being sensitive about how people are feeling.
Yeah.
I know
Empathy, compassion.
Yes, I know. I'm very aware when I'm in a crowd who's the one. I can look at someone and go, they're feeling left out, they're hurting. I'm very sensitive, so it can be a very positive thing as well.
So using your sensitivity, wrangling it for good instead of for evil.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And
Instead of to emotionally manipulate people.
That's right.
If push people away.
If you're strong in empathy, like the Strengths Finders 2.0, my number one thing was empathy. And when I found that out, I was like, that's not a strength. That's a curse. Because when I've got to make a decision, I'm
not to
all
a woman,
too,
it's not.
Right. I'm all too aware of how this will make certain people in our team feel.
Yeah.
But then as a leader, I have to understand that's not the entire picture.
Right. The
They
balance.
may feel like this to start with, but this is actually in their benefit. They may not see it right now, but
So what advice
Still
would you
move
guys
forward.
give to a person who feels like I am so sensitive and it's sabotaging my relationships and my opportunities, and we're seeing it all over? So what would you say to them? What's step one in still acknowledging that sensitive part of yourself but not letting it lead you?
Yeah, I think acknowledging it is the first step. I mean, if we have an awareness that we're sensitive, so if somebody says, I feel like you're sensitive, don't back away and go, no, I'm not. Well, then invite the wisdom in. I think the second step to awareness is inviting in conversation of trusted people into your world of how do I walk into a room, sense these things, but not just live out of emotion.
Right.
yeah.
How do I stop, pause,
Yep.
process? And I think Andy said it perfectly. He's able to have empathy and still make a call.
Right.
And still make a decision.
Yeah.
So there's a hyper awareness there of actually thinking it through. And so I think a lot of times we need to pause, invite people into the conversation and teach ourselves, which we can be taught, how to pause and how to stop and how to process before just reacting to the emotion. And then I think, like I said before, we got to learn to let some stuff go once in a while.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's my
So
contribution.
coming full circle is kind of how I opened. A lot of times, like, heightened sensitivity comes from a deep root of a wound that hasn't been healed properly. So we have to actually, I think, ask ourselves, where did this start? Where did this hypersensitivity come from? And get to the root of the initial wounding so we can heal from that.
Yes.
And can I just say that process of healing from the wound, sometimes it means we need to forgive somebody. And can I just say, forgiving someone doesn't necessarily mean that your wound is now going to be healed. It's two separate things, I think. There's the forgiveness side of healing from a wound, and then there's the healing of the wounds. And I think we can go, oh, well, I've forgiven them, but that doesn't mean the hurt is gone. We have to actually manage the healing process of the wound. And that comes through prayer, through counseling, through sometimes even deliverance, depending on how deep the wound was that caused us to be so sensitive.
And you can always tell the fruit of it. Like if you actually have forgiven and healed, then you wouldn't be so sensitive.
Yes.
So if you keep finding yourself in the same position, then you got to ask yourself, did I really go through the process of healing and forgiveness? Because if I did, I wouldn't have the same results.
Yes,
That's right. You have a scar
it wouldn't be
instead
a
of a wound.
snag. That's right. You have a scar
scar's
instead of a
pretty
wound.
tough.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
That's a great,
wound,
Good illustration.
Love that.
Good way to end this
There you
segment.
go.
Thanks for joining us at Cherish TV. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Who can find a virtuous woman? For her worth is far above rubies. She seeks wool and flax, and willingly works with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She also rises while it is yet night, and provides food for her household. She girds herself with strength, and her lamp does not go out by night. She stretches out her hands to the distaff, and her hand holds the spindle. She extends her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is clothed with scarlet. She makes tapestry for herself. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come.